just calling to say I
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is now the final round of the season for Season 10 of the Proam Championship here at FRL. This will also actually be my last race for quite some time because I'm having quite a big break of the complete month of March. So that's going to be something I'm going to be very rusty to come back to next season. But this is where we get to see quite an interesting variation in pace, because what we can see right now, it's a wet track, and during free practice it was quite concerning until I realized what the logistics was that caused such a pace gap between the leader and the last place. And it's because it rained halfway through free practice, which could lead to something like we can see right now, even though it shouldn't affect qualifying. But we can see it's raining now, but in 30 minutes it will stop raining eventually, which hopefully this can be something to look forward to in the race. Obviously it's only two 30-minute races, so it might be something that we won't get to see something interesting of a complete climate change throughout an entire race. But if it was an hour race, we might be able to see something like that happen. Only 22 cars on grids here today, so we have the chance of possibly seeing just a full wet race and not like a damp track, because there's not too many cars going out on track. But we do see this is who will become victorious. The first person who is in favour right now of winning the championship is Yaroshenko in the Rebels running 296. I think it's about 40 points ahead P2. So all he really needs to do is finish in the top 10 to actually become the champion for Season 10 of the Pro-Am Championship. There are a few others that are looking quite high chances for the championship, but Yaroshenko is the one in favour. But looking at free practice, obviously that wet transition that we saw during free practice, if you were on the server, is something that probably caused him to be further down the grid, not being able to get a dry / optimum lap time in. So that's something that we will be able to interpret during this race, is if there's going to be having to be the difference of the wet and the dry, which can lead to adaptations of the drivers. Obviously they've had a tiny bit of free practice in the wets, but if they've done a lot, that is something we'll have to find out during the race. As we go on to qualifying now, Yaroshenko, the first or so driver to go out onto their first few laps here, going through the first straight. We do see a few other people doing their first laps as well, not improving since their free practice time just yet. He is, though, losing a bit of time going to the first chicane now. We do see also what seems to be Mickey Taylor as well behind him, trying to do his first lap. No one actually improving just yet, which is actually not the greatest of starts here. But who will take pole provisionally? Here, as we do see Alex Frankelwood is one of the drivers who is in favour at the free practice session to take pole position. But obviously that was a dry time of a 1:43.3, I think he did. But we also do see James Williams in the livery. I never thought I'd get to see the pink pig livery. He was going to run this year, not late yesterday. last race, but completely forgot. So we do see it for the final race of the season, which is good to see. It's quite a nice delivery, actually. I'm not sure who made it. It might have been him. I think he might do deliveries. I'm not too sure. Does he need a car we haven't seen too many times now? It does seem, I thought there would be a lot more cars this race because it's the finale, but it does seem we are dropping off at the end of this season, unfortunately. 22 drivers, hopefully no retirements. Luckily it's only two 30-minute races, so it shouldn't be too dry when it comes to qualifying, as we do see the first few laps going in a 147.4, while Van Corvin currently in pole position provisionally, as we do see a few other drivers starting to gain traction now. James Williams being one of them, about 1.5 tenths up on the personal best lap time since the last lap, can try to go up in the orders. Still a second gap between him and P1 so far, and it seems as it's quite spaced out with all of the delta at the moment. We do see Scotton already going slow. It seems there might have been a bit of an issue there with the car. Martin Cotterill now going into sector 3 in the Angry Badger Racing 296. 8 tenths up on his personal best lap time, trying to decrease the gap between him and P1. Can get closer, but I don't think he will be able to just yet unless he can gain about 8 tenths in a few corners. Currently 8.5 tenths up on his personal best lap time, looking to try take P8 away from James Williams, but he has to try and get this lap time to materialise first, as we also see Picano as well behind him isn't doing as well as he would want to be doing, but he is looking to take away pole now. Actually looks like he gained a lot of time going into the final chicane, or going into the final sections of corners before the straight. This is where you need to try and improvise, trying to get the best traction. We do see what seems to be Martin Cotterill just letting him go. Unfortunately, it does seem Sebastian lost a lot of time there, but now we do see Martin having the slipstream as well. Not going to help him a lot because he was off and on the lap, and he takes pole position by a tenth on the dot there with 147.385, which probably won't be the lap time of pole position today, as it seems quite close already. We do see Mose Tramby in the Trambaglio racing car, so we do see Daniel Trambaglio, his teammate, down in P6 at the moment. Hopefully see Daniel start to make a bit of a comeback. Currently a 10.5 up on his personal best lap time, going through the final corner now. Still gaining, so he got a very good exit there, and he goes across the line to set a 147.6, just 2.5-ish tenths away from pole position. So it's very close between them both, but it does seem now we do see the current championship favour of Yaroshenko take away Picano's pole position lap time of 147.1. Now a 2.5 tenths gap between them both. So this is where we start to see quite an interesting field start to form, as we do see there's not too many people within the second between them both, as we do see Daniel Travaglio trying to make a bit of an adventure here, trying to get some more points. Currently 1.1 seconds off the leader's pace, but is about 9 tenths up on his first best lap time. Is at risk of taking pole position away from Yaroshenko. If he can do that, though, we'll have to find out as he goes into sector 3 now, still gaining time. Obviously this is probably the more technical part of the circuit, as we do see it's all just surrounded by curbs, and curbs on a wet track if GT3s doesn't usually go well. As we have seen, as he takes a lot of soft edge curb there, does seem he still gains a lot of lap time there going out of the final chicane. Around 1.3 seconds up on his personal best lap time. This will be enough for pole if he can manage to take it. Now about 1.5 seconds up now, so he is looking to take pole with quite a gap now going through the final corner. All about getting the exit right, as I was saying earlier. Does seem to get quite a good exit. Does seem he's losing just fractions of time now, going and racing towards the start finish line as he goes across the line to take pole position provisionally with what seems to be a 146.8, so there's still a 3 tenths gap between him and P2. Yaroshenko now also improving, going through the final corner back on the straight. This is going to take Trambaglio's time away, and he's going to be able to set what seems to be a 146.667, so there's still a 1.5 tenths difference between them both. Is Daniel Trambaglio going to try and improve with that, as he just had pole position for mere tenths of a second, you could say. Sven Corvin now going into the final few corners of sector 2, Currently about 3 tenths up on his personal best lap time, trying to decrease the time between him and the leaders. I say with all of them, it does seem he is looking quite promising at the moment. About 4.5 tenths up, 5 tenths now going into this corner. See, this corner is again very technical, but it does seem he has traffic as well. Is that going to hold him up at all? We'll have to see. We do see Picano, and I think that's Alex Fragowood as well. Two drivers who are further down in the order right now. Will that be any sort of effect here for Sven? Still about 4 tenths up on his personal best lap time, losing a tiny bit of time going out of the chicane. Now we do see also Mose Tranby a few corners behind, losing a bit of time, but still about 2.5 tenths between them both. Going through the penultimate corner and the ultimate corner now. He is gaining time again, trying to get a good exit, which he does succeed to do. And now has the slipstream as well. Not going to help him up too much, it seems. And it does seem he comes across the line now to set. Seems to be a 147.040, which is enough for P3 provisionally. And there's still quite a big gap between P3 and P4. So this is what we do start seeing some very, very close battles hopefully starting to form. Giuseppe, race winner in race 1 of Silverstone, coming across the line now. 7 tenths gap between them both to take a 147.1, but it's not going to be a valid lap time. So it does seem he is going to have to try again to go further up in the orders. It does seem he has the potential to be able to do so. So we also see Picano coming across the line as well to try get further up. He goes for P3 with a 146.997. Does seem we're starting to see some closer actions here. Still quite far between each other, but we see Simone though looking to try go further up in the orders now with 1.1 seconds to his name. Going across the line to set what seems to be an invalid lap time. That's the thing. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Mamtaz now currently in P19. Car that has quite a bit of potential in some of the races we've seen previously in this season. Currently 5 tenths up on his personal best lap time, still going up in time, managing to try and take a very, 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 very good corner exit there, managing to get the traction on it. About 7 tenths up now going into the penultimate corner. Does seem he goes a tiny bit late on the brakes. Is that going to help him in his favour going through the final corner? Does seem it does. It's very fractional how much he has actually gained, but he does come home. Is this going to be a valid lap time? And it is going to be a valid lap time for P15 with 148.2. So this is what we start seeing down around the further part of the field, is the times are very, very far apart of each other. So it's something that it might be because of the pace difference of a few of the other people. Andres Holt, or also could be the competence of being in the wet, as it's now actually a damp circuit. As I was saying about this earlier, this is where we're going to start seeing more and more faster times approaching. So this is where you need to be on the track pretty much 24/7 to try get faster lap times. Andres Holt coming across the line now. Is it going to be a fast enough lap? It does seem he's going to go up into P6 with a 147.3, about a second up on his personal best lap time there. However, we do see Yaroshenko as well starting his lap going into sector 2 now. Trying to stick on the dry line to try get a bit more grip. He is about 5, 6, 7 tenths up now on his personal best lap time. This is obviously because the track is becoming more and more damp instead of more and more wet. Loses a lot of his time though going out the final corner as he slips on the apex, and that's going to be a lap ruiner for him. He will have enough time for one more lap if he can get out quickly, but is he just going to stay in that? As we do see Trambaglio going off as well. This is where we're starting to see people might be trying out the dry tyres to see if they are faster. That's what my prediction is. That's probably why we saw a bit of a lock up there from Trambaglio going into what seemed to be turn 4. We do see Ian Thompson as well in Chica Motorsports AMR V8 Vantage coming up into the final corner before sector 3. Currently about 1.5 tenths up on his personal best lap time. Will be enough for P6. Can he try climb up further in the order still? And he has a lap to do so now. One more lap after this penultimate lap. Can he try get anything done? Does seem Andres Holt has a lot of potential as well going through the final apex, about 2.5 tenths or so up on his personal best lap time, risking Ian Thompson with not going up and progressing into P6. It does seem he is fluctuating a lot of lap time now. Andres Hold, though, on the other hand, still maintaining quite a good green lap so far. Going into the final corner, has tiny bit of a slipstream, very weak there from Mickey Taylor. He's still getting a lot of lap time here, going up with about a 2/10 progression, and it is not going to be enough for a different position, but he is going to increase his time between him and P8 with a 1:47.2, as we do see now. Ian Thompson trying to get closer to him, about 1.5 tenths, and it does seem he gets closer, but it's not going to be close enough with a 1:47.272. So very close between both of them, just about 6 thousandths of a second or so between them both, as we do see Picano as well being very, very close. Has a bit of traffic though, is that going to affect him, as we do see Giuseppe as well in his mirrors. Is that going to be an issue as well, as we do see what I think is Salia. It does seem to let him go though. Is that going to affect his lap time though? He is about maintaining about 6.5 tenths or so going up though. He is about 8 tenths up now on his first best lap time. Going through the final corner. Is he going to have enough for another lap time? I don't think he is going to be able to. He's going to have to rush to the line if he's able to. He comes across the line though, 6 tenths up. This is going to be enough for pole provisionally. He comes across the lap time to take a 1:46.3, and he gets another lap time just by mere seconds there. So is he going to try and improve again? This is going to be the final lap, as he just gets one final lap on just the end of qualifying. So that is absolutely nuts, that timing. But it does seem he stays for it, as it does seem Mose Tranby is also sticking to another hot lap for his final attempt. 1.5 tenths up on his personal best lap time will not be enough to progress any further in position, unless he can try and push his delta up anymore. But it does seem he lost all of his delta going into the final corner of sector 2. It does seem now he's trying to gain it back by braking a bit later going into the first corner of sector 2. It does seem it works. Can he keep the traction though? It does seem he is maintaining too, as we do see Ian Thompson as well coming across the line, 7 tenths up on his first best lap time. Is this a valid lap? It is. Comes across in P2 with 1:46.4. As we only see one more person who is actually improving, and that's Mose Tranby, and it's fractional how much he actually is going into the penultimate corner now. Still green, but it's just not enough to try and think of getting any sort of good lap time in from it. There's not going to be any progression unless he gets any sort of good time out there. He does gain quite a bit of time out there, about 1.5 tenths, but still not going to be enough to take any sort of position gain, as he comes across the line now to stay in P7 there. As we get ready for the race now, it does seem, looking at everyone's time, it is very, very fluctuated as we go on for the grid, as we will see. This is actually going to be interesting, and I will tell you why this is going to be interesting in a minute, because this could actually be something that could change everything, and this is where strategy comes into a lot of play. I know you can't say anything just yet because I've made a silly error of accidentally returning to garage, and I won't be able to. Basically, what we've seen, so I will just show you the game even though we're in garage view right now, is looking at the weather chart. It's a wet track, but we're only supposed to have rain for the next 5 minutes or so. So this is where we're going to see if people are going to stay on that wet tyre or just try risk on the dry tyre, because obviously it's 30 minutes. Will it be worth it though? That's the issue, because it's only about 3 or 4 minutes of rain. So it could just be the formation lap that is rainy. So this is something that we'll have to see if anyone's strategies does play with, because I think it is something worth to take note of, because that is what's going to be the race society, you could probably say. Picano looks like he is taking wets. I can't change just yet.
30 seconds.
But as we do see, I can't actually see, but there is one way I can find out if he's on wets or dries. And he is on wets, as we do see Ian Thompson. I think everyone's on the wet compound of tyre. I don't think anyone has taken the dry. There is a few people with dries, Scotland with dries, and everyone in the midfield has taken dries. Or there is a few handful of people who are on wets and a few people on dry. So it's more a lot of people on the wets than the dry, so we'll have to see which strategy actually plays out here. This is a race thing I've wanted to happen for a while. In the 6 months I've never actually experienced this, and it's something I've always wanted to try commentate on, because just strategic race thing is probably one of my favorite things to try broadcast, because it's something that not a lot of people appreciate when it comes to racing, and it's something that I absolutely love. As it does seem the rain is starting to clear up, it seems, so this is where we might see the wet tyres will start probably pretty strong. We'll start to see the drop off of the dry tyres, but in the final few laps or so we'll probably start seeing a spike of the optimum slick tyres, but we'll have to see. 20-degree track, so it could warm up pretty quickly as well, so that might be in favour of the dries as well. We get ready now, going into sector 2. Cars lining up, still single file. We won't see the formation of side by side until the final few corners, and this is where we start to see the final race of season 10 Proam Championship Formula Racing League, sponsored by Coach Dave Doutas. You see the leader just doing a final chicane for the first time on the first formation lap of the 2 races we do see here tonight. It does seem, are any of the cars starting to hold himself up a tiny bit to try stop the rain, but I don't think Sebastian Picano would do that because he's on the wet tyres, so I don't think that is strategy at all, as it's still raining, and it will be raining for the start of this race, it seems, as we go on to the final corner. He will come out champions for this race, because it is 2 sprint races here, which is still the full point format. So will we see Yaroshenko be crowned the world champion here tonight, or will we see other drivers starting to make a comeback here? We'll have to find out very, very soon. As we are about to go green here for the first time at Imola for season 10 for the finale, to see who will be crowned the world champion for the race one. Will we see Yaroshenko take it, or will we see other drivers coming victorious as well as we go green in the next moments here? It does seem we're going to go side by side for a very wet Imola, but it does seem it's going to be drying up very quickly, as we should be going green now, as it does seem Sebastian Picano doesn't get the best of starts, as we do see Ian Thompson just going behind him as well as we go further back in the grid already, as there is a side-by-side already. It does seem Yaroshenko trying to get these positions done as quickly as he can to try get this championship quickly, as he does get stopped a bit, and now going side-by-side there with Trambaglio. Trambaglio successfully gets past Yaroshenko, not going to be too happy just yet, but he just needs to try stay on it. But does seem he's got a lot of pressure there from behind as well, as we do see, fortunately, Scotland, the one who's on the dry tyres, going into the wall there. So he's now going to be stopped in the middle of the track. That's not going to be very good for everyone, as we do see Picano starting to make a bit of a gap. It's not much at all, but these 2 drivers will be fighting at it, as we do see there's another humongous contact between them both. Yaroshenko just absolutely ramming someone off the track, it seems, trying to gain these positions back. So he's dropping like flies at the moment. But we will see, as it does seem Yaroshenko is struggling to try and get that 296 stable. That car's supposed to be very stable in the wet conditions, which we're supposed to see, as we do see now Ian Thompson take the lead of this race. It does seem Picano is losing position here, as it seems Trambaglio gets past as well. It does seem Picano's getting abused a tiny bit here, as it does get, he goes down into 4th in just 1 corner. That's actually quite insane. It does seem Most Tramby gets past as well. Is he going to be under pressure here from the 992 as well? Does seem the 992 is going to try go side by side with him going into the final few corners. Doesn't seem to work just yet. And it does seem he just stays behind for the time being, as he just going to stay with a social gap between him. It does seem the other 992 is going to try look for the move. Tuomain, obviously another one of these drivers who is looking to try take this championship as well, but it does seem Yaroshenko is also next to them as they both start going side by side and start a bit of door ramming between each other. These are the two possible people who will win this championship tonight. Will it be these two drivers, as they are very, very close battling between them both? It does seem what needs to happen is Hanu needs to win or get a podium with Yaroshenko further down in the order to win the championship. But Yaroshenko just needs to win the race to be able to. As there's still 2 races though, so there's still a lot of opportunities. We do see a Porsche in the background of what seems to be Andres Hold, just absolutely ramming Emanuela on off, as we do see. I think it's Sickness saying go Donozu. I think one of the most favourite drivers counting down on P19, unfortunately. Not seeming to do too well in sort of pace just yet, as we do see there's another contact between 2 drivers. We will get another. It does seem Sven Corving and what seems to be Mumtaz. Both of them goes with it, but it does seem Mumtaz just gets a bit of contact there from Mickey Taylor. That's got to cause them both to spin, and it does seem they both go up, but they're so far behind as they would have been, as it does seem Daniel Trambaglio now starting to make a bit of a gap for himself. This is what we're wanting, is quite some interesting racing here tonight. As it does seem the racing stopped and it's damp already. Yaroshenko now. What's happened with Yaroshenko? Yaroshenko looking to risk this championship title already. Does seem going into the chicane as he goes for a bit of a lunge there. He goes over the curb and spins out, and his tires are going to be absolutely ruined already. 26 minutes left of this race, loses so many positions, and also Hanu's in front of him as well as he goes off again. Yaroshenko not having a good first ratio, going down into what seems to be last position almost. P18, P19 even. Oh my days, Yaroshenko has to have a miracle to pull this off. However, we do see Hanu Tuomain now currently in P6, but at risk of Emanuelson taking over that position. It does seem he gets it done, as there's a tiny bit of a tap between them both there. So I did hear a gravel trap go off. I think that's just an ATC sound bug, as it does seem he's going to try go for it once again between them two. It doesn't seem to work just yet for him. It does seem he's just going to stay in front for now. Are we going to see some sort of retaliation here from Hanu? At the moment, I'm not sure, as it does seem he is struggling quite a lot to keep that 992 in a straight line. Obviously the 992, quite a difficult car to just drive in general, but in the wet it must be absolutely awful. Very oversteery car naturally, just how they've made it. Alex Fragowood, they're all over the back of what seems to be Giuseppe. I'm not sure why Martin Cottereau has gone. It looks he's just made a bit of a gap for himself, but this line of cars is starting to form here. Giuseppe has to just try and keep it nice and composed to try and not get any sort of positions lost, but it does seem Alex Fragowood lost the position to Giuseppe earlier, so this could be the cause of the train. Alex Fragowood seeming to be the lower pace car in this train, as we do see Mark GG as well trying to look to try and get past him as quickly as he can, but at the moment there's still quite a safe gap between both of them, unless he does stuff like that and then he goes off track there. As it does seem James Williams gets the fastest lap time here, unfortunately down in P19 at the moment. So it does seem he might have had a bit of an incident earlier. I didn't get the clock. It's unfortunate there for him, as we do see now Scotton putting a lot of pressure there on Donoso, as it does seem Donoso goes and makes a bit of a mistake, which lets Scotton pass, and Scotton in that very, very damaged Mercedes AMG gets past for the position. As we do see what has happened here, Hanu in the pits. Why is Hanu in the pits? Is he going for dry tyres? He must be going for dry tyres, and the same with Daniel Trambaglio, because this is what we're going to see, is we're going to see a very, very sudden decrease in the performance from the wet tyres, which has let Mose Tramby take this. We'll quickly go back to basic. It does seem though Mose Tramby is on the wet tyres, as well as we don't see Picano on the wet tyres, so he could be the race winner here for the first race, but obviously it can be quite unpredictable because this track dries up pretty quick with the 21 degrees track, as it does seem he comes out looking to try out. I'm presuming he's staying on, no, he's going back on the dry tyres. So is this a good idea though? Because now we do see Yaroshenko's past him, and Yaroshenko is his biggest rival at the moment between them both, as it does seem now. Going on the basic, he is on the wet tyres, so this is going to be quite an issue. As we do see, has Hanu just been disqualified? Hanu's been disqualified. Okay, this is going to be a humongous plot twist of events. Hanu Tuomainen has been disqualified from the first session for speeding in the pit lane. Oh my days. Okay, this has put a huge spanner in the works here for the championship. Yaroshenko now very lucky after the unfortunate issue he had. Now currently up in P12, still at risk of the championship possibly, but he is looking a lot more clear due to the issue that happened with Tuomainen, now in P11, just overtaking Tuomainen's spots. It does seem Picano is starting to try and make a bit of a gap for himself between him and Mose Tranby. Tranby being on the wet tyres, so there was an overtake that just happened. It seems Sebastian Picano, who is on the dry tyres, managed to get past Mose Tranby because of the performance outbreak between them both. So we do see that dry line starting to form. He isn't on it just yet, but compared to Mose Tranby, who has to try stay on the wet line to try keep some sort of life in those wet tyres. We do see as well Thompson as well behind him, along with DeShong and Emulicent as well. So this is something we might start seeing, some incidental pits for tyres, which could be because of strategy, because obviously it's a huge risk if you go for dry tyres at the start of the race, or if you go for wet tyres. There is about 50-50 of being right or being wrong during this race, and it's just something that you can't really control, and you just have to try go with your own logistics and your previous experiences with these kind of scenarios. And it's just something that unfortunately doesn't go right 100% of the times, unless you're like you're like ACC gods or something. But it's just something that you can't always predict unless you've got these huge help of benefit, very, very beneficial softwares that ACC have started having third-party developers, such as ACC Drive, for example. Very useful tool when it comes to rain and stuff, as we do see the track's gone greasy now, as we can see that dry line is formed very quickly just in the first 10 minutes. Now, is this going to be the same scenario for race 2 though? We'll have to see, because obviously the weather's quite random at the moment. It's quite unpredictable as well, as it does seem this dry line is quite sketchy though at the minute. It does seem the curves are very, very sketchy as well, but it does seem though Sebastian Picano doesn't need to just push it too hard, as we did see he goes on the apex there, which did cause a bit of an unsettled rear of that BMW because of that wet curb. So he doesn't need to push it too much. He's got 1.8, as we used to. Van Corving though getting a bit of an incident, as Alex Fragwood also getting involved with it as well. Is that an oversteer moment, or is that a bit of an incident that's happened? It does seem going into the corner there is going to be a tiny bit of an unfortunate incident between him and Namtaz there. That's what caused... No, that seems Alex Fragwood is on the dry tyres and accidentally got on the wet line now, which caused that understeer to happen. So that's what's happened there. James Williams in the pit as well, to seeming to pit for dries, as well as Jake DeShong. Can they make any more positions up? Because obviously there's a lot more people on the wets than they are the dries. So the dries was such a good call for this first race here going into the final half. Now, as I said final very weirdly there, the final half of this race. Now that dry line is starting to become more and more confident for the drivers. We will start seeing potentially a green track coming back. Obviously the green track is a lot better, as we do see. Why is Sebastian Picano sticking with the wet line there? That is not going to help him out at all, as it does seem Yaroshenko is doing quite a good job at the moment. Does seem he is still on the wet tyres. Is he going to stay on the wet tyres? He should be staying on that dry line. the wet line, sorry, for as long as he can, trying to put some pressure on Sven Corving. It's Sven though. Sven is also on the dry, so this is a very, very, very difficult battle here for Yaroshenko to try and achieve, because this Lamborghini of Sven Corving will have this performance outburst compared to him because of being on that different compound of tyres. Do you start seeing Alex Rossen, not Alex Rossen, sorry, Albert Rossen, putting some pressure there on Mickey Taylor. This is obviously for position as well, but are they both on the dries? It does seem Albert Rossen is, but it does seem Mickey Taylor isn't. Is that a call that you'd go for? Because it's a greasy track already. You're on the wet tyres and you still got 18 minutes left to go. And there's one thing I've realised that could actually affect this quite a bit as well. And that's if the ACC bug of going max PSI wet tyres is still available for drivers. Because if so, that's going to put some more pressure on the dry tyres. And that's going to put a bit more of an advantage. Not much at all, and it's still going to be a very, very big advantage for the dry tyres, but it's going to be faster for the wet tyre users if they go max pressure, if that's still around, or unless that hot patch has fixed it. It does seem Ian Thompson now trying to get P3 here for position. It does seem that's Giuseppe, or no, Giuseppe is not for position. We're already starting to see in a 30-minute race, not even halfway into this race yet, the fluctuation of positions and the fluctuation of laps between drivers, because of obviously the risk they've taken of either staying on the wets or not, as we do see what seems to be Mose Tranby going in for the dries now. Is that a late call? We'll have to see. It seems Mose Tranby is just still a tiny bit slow there as he comes out just behind Alex Fragwood there. No, he's a lap down. Okay, so this is where we could see the wet tyres is a race ruiner possibly for some of these drivers, as we do see now. Emmanuelson very, very close to the back there of the Deschamps. Start to see now the drop off of battles that are happening, and this is something that we will predict to happen due to this unpredictable weather change and obviously these strategies that people are using, because some people will take the risk of going on dry tyres at the start of the race, and some people will just stay on the wet tyres, not expecting the track to dry up as quickly as it has with only 22 cars. So it's just something that you can't really predict, but obviously it has a very, very more benefits. We do see what seems to Moan just drifting that corner there in the background, but there is a lot more benefits for the dry tyre users if they just stayed on it and taken the risk, and the risk has seemed to reward a lot more than playing the safe goal here. As I've actually, now this is completely off topic, but I've actually started building my new PC stuff. I've now just got my new motherboard. I'm waiting for my new CPU, and hopefully I can start running streams a bit more crisper, and hopefully get those shaders and being able to stream with them on as well, which hopefully will happen. To see these cars are starting to get closer with each other, but still not close enough to try and think to go for a position with each other. It's getting very, very close to the back of that car now. Chunk, is there going to be a move to happen? They go side by side here, going into the first corner. Breaks a lot late, but has the inside line for the first corner, but now he does have the second corner inside line as well, but it does seem Jashong just keeps, and now he goes on the gravel. It doesn't seem Emmanuelson's going to be able to get past just yet, and it's still going to be Jake Jashong in lead of this battle for now. Is this going to stay? Can he be able to defend for the last 13 minutes of the first race, or is he going to have to try and just let him go? Because if he just battles too much, we'll see Simone in the background starting to catch up, and he could potentially lose 2 positions because of this train that's starting to form between them both. We do go further up though, as we do see Giuseppe currently in P3, looking to take away Andres' hold. It does seem Sebastian Picano is absolutely clear at the moment, with a 10-second gap between him and P2 in just about 17 minutes, which is quite a crazy thing to believe, as we do see Daniel Trambaglio going into the wall there. What's happened there? We'll get a replay. Does he just goes on? So far I reckon he's just taken too much apex, as he just goes on the wet part of the apex, which just unfortunately sells the car, goes back in the pits for the second time, and unfortunately that might be a race ruiner for Daniel Trambaglio. Giuseppe getting closer, but it's not going to be close enough. However, Alex Frago is going to go side by side here with Yaroshenko, who is the current championship leader, going into the final few corners here. He does get it through there, and it does seem Yaroshenko's wet tyres is not helping him just yet. It's going to be retaliation here between them both, as we do still see it's a greasy track, so we'll start seeing the overheating of the tyres here for him, as he is the only ones on the wet in this battle. As we do see Scotland as well, if there is a damaged car behind you and is currently faster than you because of the tyres you're currently on, that is starting to say something, and that you should probably pit, because you're probably losing more time than if you were just to pit. And it does seem now he might have to try and on those less grippier tyres, then those slick tyres, just try to defend for that, all of that. 11 minutes left, but he's going to go side by side, has the inside line going into turn 3 now, and it does seem he is going to get the move done there. Scotland now up into P8, Yaroshenko down into P9. Is he going to lose it to Donozo as well, who is just about 5 seconds behind him, or is that going to be something we won't see? I'll have to see between these two as well. Does seem Albert Rossen getting closer there to Mickey Taylor. We did see these two battling earlier. It does seem Mickey Taylor started to gain a gap between them both now, as we do see Giuseppe, the only battle on track now, unfortunately, going on to the final 10 minutes of the first race now. Just stay close, but it's still not going to be close enough. And if he does battle too much, we do see Thompson and Corvin are both behind him in quite a close gap as well. As we do see some battles are starting to arise again. Albert Rossen managing to gain about a second in just a half a lap on Mickey Taylor. He's got to try go for a move here. It does seem obviously Mickey Taylor is on those wet tyres, which obviously again Albert Rossen isn't. So that is a big advantage here for Albert Rossen for this position, as well as we do see Deschong as well getting a lot of pressure there from Emmanuelson as well. So I do think Deschong is on the dry tyres as well, just because of him being able to set the purple lap time here. So it does seem Emmanuelson's going to be all over the back of him, as we do see Daniel Trambaglio having a bit of a yellow flag into the back there. It does seem they're going to go side by side into the first corner. It does seem Albert Rossen does get it done just before the first corner there. He breaks a bit later. It's going to be retaliation here from Mickey Taylor. No, that is not. And he's going to stay in the same position he's currently in. But we do see Deschong getting the yellow flag, as well as we do see Donozo. That gap decreased very quickly between both of them. It does go side by side going in to the first few corners of Sector 2. He does get it done quickly. Is Yaroshenko going to be able to try and retaliate with those wet tyres? I don't think he is going to be able to. He's not going to have any sort of grip on those tyres. And he just stays down into P11, P10, sorry now. Which is definitely something you're not going to see. As we do see Donato goes very wide going into what seems to be the first corner of Sector 3. And now that's going to let Yaroshenko back by us. We do see this battles might happen again. So we do see a very damaged Mark GG. McLaren 720S behind him as well. He goes very wide though. So we might not worry about him just yet, as it does seem these two are starting to battle at it once again. Can Yaroshenko carry it for the next 8 minutes? I don't think he can. The grip on those tyres when you're on such a dry track, it's not really dry. But it does seem Yaroshenko, and that's what happens there. Unfortunately, what we saw there is we'll get a bit of a replay. Is there's just no grip and you're understeering constantly because you're on a dry track with wet tyres, and it's just caused him, yeah, we're just seeing him unfortunately understeer because of that issue that he's currently with. As we do see Mark GG gets by as well, so he loses 2 positions in the span of 1 corner there. That's not going to be a very happy Yaroshenko, because we do see there's a spin here from Simone, as we can't see it, but we do see it on the track map, as it does seem going into what seems to be the first corner of Sector 3. It does seem he just gets a bit loose then, not even assisted by the apex though, as he just goes round. No damage though, as he kind of plays that off very nicely, I'll give him that. That's going to be some very, very overheated tyres, as he is on the dry tyres as well, so there is going to be obviously that impact with the dry tyres because of it being a greasy track. It's still not 100% a stable track for the dry tyres to be on, so you still need to be quite cautious and skeptical when going onto those curbs, which is obviously what's causing these oversteer moments and these spins and these crashes that we're seeing. But it does seem though it is starting to get better, as we do actually see, speaking of that, the track goes green, but it's still not going to be perfect. So is this going to be a more confident driver guard for next race, or are people going to have to do different pit regulations due to James Williams part of this huge train here? About, I'm going to say, all the way to P22, maybe not P22, maybe P20. Actually, I don't know who these trains are. I feel like these are the lap traffics behind them as it is. So that's Namtaz there, as well as we see Andres Holds. This is unfortunately lapping scenarios. We do see now Giuseppe as well getting closer to Andres Holt, who is on, I believe, the dry tyres. So I think everyone in the top 3 are on dry tyres now. 6 minutes left of this race. Giuseppe all over the back of Andres Holden to go side by side there. There's a bit of a mistake there from Andres Holden. He does get back by and recovers that mistake that he did just have. But we do see Ian Thompson also get involved in this because of that little incident. And it does seem now Andres Holden does keep it for the time being. But how long is that going to be? As it does seem Ian Thompson is in the mirror and ready to try and strike at any time he can to get these 2 positions as quickly as he can. Giuseppe though, more pressure than anything at the moment. He wants to get by Andres Holden as quickly as he can, but doesn't want to lose too much time to Ian Thompson as well. Does seem though Giuseppe is now under a lot of danger from Ian Thompson behind him. Does seem though Giuseppe recovers it well going into the final 2 corners. It's maintained about a 7-tenth gap between them both. Now he can try focus on Andres Hold for a tiny bit and try to get by before Ian Thompson catches up once again. But is that going to be possible? Because Andres Holt doesn't crack under pressure that well, and he's very good at defending, as we have seen in the past. But is he going to be able to hold this up this time? As it does seem he loses time to Giuseppe going into the first few corners of Sector 1. Do you see Ian Thompson catches up quite significantly? So it does seem they're going to go side by side, but it does seem Giuseppe has the outside line here going into his hairpin. Is that going to help him? It does seem they've still got to go side by side here, but Andres Holt does have the benefit of still half of his car being in front of Giuseppe, but it does seem the overspeed of Giuseppe seems to be helping him, but Andrews Holt having the inside line into the final corner of Sector 2, it's not going to help, and Ian Thompson getting a bit of a moment there in the background, just losing a tiny bit of time there, but manages to recover the car, which is an important start. Do you see Yaroshenko off in barrier there? It does seem that's going off into the final few corners of Sector 2, I believe. It does seem Albert Rossen might be involved with this as well. There's actually just a big tag there from Albert Rossen, sending him flying into the barrier at very high speed. So Yaroshenko is not going to be happy with Albert Rossen there. That's not a very happy Yaroshenko there, as it does seem his car is suffering quite a bit of aero damage and possibly suspension damage. To go on board with him, it does seem he's managing to keep the car straight. With suspension and steering column issues aside, but it does seem Giuseppe Sciotto is still all over the back of Andrews Holt. Can he hold this up for the final 2 laps, do you think? It does seem he just blocks him off a tiny bit there to try keep his defensive move. Do you also see there, obviously Ian Thompson as well could be a part of this. Is Yaroshenko again, yellow flag. Unfortunately just spinning again. It does seem that damage isn't helping him. Andrews Holt trying to push as much as he can. The pace difference between these two could possibly be quite a bit, but it does seem the last lap time is still in favour of Andrews Holt, just by about 9 thousandths of a second though, so there's not much in between it. Just I'd be trying to gate under braking as much as he can, just by the braking later, and it does seem he does do it, but then starts falling back a tiny bit. Will he be able to do it? He's going to become impatient going on to the final lap of the race though. Of race 1, shall I say, because we've still got another race after this which could crown champion. As at the moment we don't know if Yaroshenko has won the championship, because obviously he's not had the best first race. As we do see the leader has entered the final lap, and I must say I have to give it to Picano. He has done an absolutely amazing job at the moment, as this is again very rowdy going in. But yeah, as I was saying, Picano's done an absolutely amazing job for the first race, being able to be as brave as he can going on those wet dry tyres at the start of the race, and it just paid off his reward. And now his reward is a 13.5 second gap between him and P2, and possibly the win if he can take it home safely. There is no risk for him at the moment. The only risk is himself. It does seem Emanuelson does take the fastest lap of a 43.0 here. Kind of going to Sector 3 now to try to take the win for the first race of the night. Starting to get rowdy now as Giuseppe got to become more and more impatient going on to the final few. Oh, it does seem they're going to go side by side once again, and it is going to be in favour of Andrews Holt, still going into the final chicane. Now it does seem he's going all over the back of him, but we do see as well Ian Thompson getting involved with this as well, as it does seem Giuseppe does make himself a bit of a gap, as we do see now the leader coming across the line to take the win of the first race of the night. Very, very well done to Sebastian Picano for his outstanding drive tonight, and that's going to put him further up in the championship as he wins the first race there. But we are not over yet, as Andrews Holt is still under a lot of pressure here, but it does seem Ian Thompson has fell off a tiny bit in the pace, but Andrews Holt comes home to take P2, but very closely behind by Giuseppe Sciotto in P3, followed there by Ian Thompson, Sven Corving, Dewar, and then we do see a bit of a gap there, Alex Freigerwood, then a very damaged Mercedes of Scotton, then another quite a big gap there of Donoso as well, followed by Mark GG just coming around the final corner as well. So we're definitely seeing this is where the huge gaps are starting to form, where we do see quite a few of these cars having quite a big pace difference in between each other. do see Albert Rosson now coming across the final corner, going on to the start finish straight. Finish the race for himself. It does seem he comes across the line now. Take P11 of the first race of the night. Then we again have this huge gap between cars, and hopefully this doesn't happen again. We do see Simone getting closer to Mickey Taylor. This could be a last. There's going to be another battle here. It does seem Mickey Taylor loses the position on the final corner there. Simone just going up into P13. Mickey Taylor not going to be happy with himself there. Taking the position down. It does seem he's not happy at all with the flashing lights going through the final corner. Simone taking P13. Absolutely stole that from Mickey Taylor. And then we do see DeShong as well coming across the line with the final two to cross the line of Martin Cotterill and Yaroshenko, who is our current championship leader. But is this going to be for long? Because down in P17, but his rivalry of Hanu to Maiden unfortunately get disqualified during to speed in the pit lane. So that's everything for the first race here now. So this is where we need to start seeing if these people's strategy is going to carry over for the second race, because obviously the weather isn't going to be the same. So we could see a full wet race, we could see obviously a change in climate race, or we could see a full dry race. I would prefer the change in climate race because they're always very fun to commentate on, but I would like it if it's a bit different. But this is where we will probably see more people being confident on the dry tyre when there is just showers that occur during a race. But we do see now waiting for the server to tick over, as there has been unfortunately two retirements from the race of Tranby and Tuomainen, one being more voluntary than the other. But for the first race, it does seem though it is quite a sparse out grid. A few drivers I wouldn't expect being up in there, but it's good to see a few drivers having a bit more of a chance, as we do see now going into the next session. Second race, hopefully we can see some magic happen during the second race as well. First race was quite action-packed, you could say. Just 30 minutes with 22 drivers. It does seem though they did make it last between them all. For the first race, Picano P1, Thompson P2, and I forgot who was P3. I think it was Giuseppe P3. As we do get a grid walk for the final time of the year. We don't have long, so I will have to do this as quickly as I possibly can. So we do see though it's not going to be the greatest grid walk, because I don't have people's names out right, and a lot of suspension issues happening with people's cars. Here we go, the final grid walk of the season, starting with Sebastian Picano in P1, followed there by Ian Thompson P2, who we did see doing quite well during the first race, followed there by Sven Korman, who didn't have the best race. Same with Yaroshenko in P4. Can he try and redeem himself and try to take the championship? Followed there by Daniel Trambaglio, who also unfortunately didn't have the greatest of second races. First race, sorry. Followed there by DeShong in P6, followed by Tranby and Andres Holt going into the top 10. Now we do see Emiliusson and Tuomainen, who needs to try take a few more positions compared to Yaroshenko to try to take the championship. But we do see that as well. Scott in P11, followed by Mark GG and Sciotto. Donozo, sorry. Mickey Taylor, Cotterill, James Williams in that new livery he is running, followed by Namtaz, Simone and Duet picking out the top 20, and then followed there by Alex Fragwood and Albert Rossinet, as we did do that in absolute perfect timing as I get ready for the race starts here for the final time of the season. So we are ready to go here for the final time, as now we can see what you might have not paid attention during the grid walk is it's going to be a fully dry race here, but it's a green track, so it is carrying over from the last server stats. So it's still going to be a slippery track, but hopefully everyone is, and I hope so. Everyone's on those dry tyres. Hopefully this will bring some more closer racing though, to try see who will be crowned champion for this. Going into season 11, then hopefully starting April time. So speak more about that later on, and obviously check the announcement channels once in a while, and hopefully we can get some quite big grids here. And obviously we will see a change in drivers as well, because a few people will upgrade and a few people will just unfortunately leave the championship, depending. But it's been a very, very grid this year, and I want to thank the FRL admins very much for letting me on the comms team for both F1 and ATC for this year. Hopefully you get to know my voice a bit more now, because I've been here for about 6 races on the Proam, and I have just made my debut in the F1 department as well. Obviously my name is Ace, also known as Alex. I'm a 15-year-old commentator. I've done quite a few leagues now. I still think I'm a new commentator, but I'm really not anymore. I've done quite a few experience league, and I've actually got some very, very cool things coming up in the future. I'm hopefully allowed to share soon when I'm able to. But I've done quite a few leagues, quite a few major ones, and obviously supporting smaller leagues as well. I do. I'm pretty much 4 day a week, but obviously March I'm having a break month, but I'm using that more in terms of just adminning, getting ready for a very chaotic April, because I've got exams, and I'm also doing some very, very big commentary races as well, as we do see now the grids going formed side by side here, ready for the final race of the season 10. Very, very good calendar in my opinion. I think it has been one of the better calendars. I've always enjoyed commentating with FRL this season. It's probably been one of my most favourite ones to do. Very close battling. You see what seems to be, I think that's Sean weaving quite a bit there, as we go to see who gets crowned champion here for the final race of the day and the entire season of season 10 Pro-Am, as we are about to go green here, and a very green track, so it's not going to be the best track conditions here between them both. But we do see Picano, can he try go for a double win here? But we do see now going green, it does seem Picano gets a lot more better of a start there, as we do see now Yaroshenko going 3 wide already, going onto the first straight. There's going to be contact there, Ian Thompson going into the wall there. That's the last thing you want happening there, as it seems Yaroshenko's going to do the same thing, going sideswipe there by Sven Corving. Manages to just recover a bit there with Daniel Trambaglio, as we do see a huge, wow, that's so many cars going into the third corner now, and that's going to be Giuseppe as well, just trying to struggle for traction. It does seem Albert Rossen nearly being a victim of that as well. That's going to be a huge plot twist of events. That is a very, very damaged Aston Martin. That is not something you want to be seeing, as we do see Sebastian Pagano already becoming a very, very, very big gap for himself in the first few corners, as Yaroshenko now trying to get closer. He wants to try and get this championship head. Now currently in P4-5 in the race now. Does seem though Trambaglio currently at risk of losing this position in terms of pace wise. Yaroshenko not having the best of first races. Can he redeem himself? We'll have to find out going into the final race. This is his final opportunity to try go with it, otherwise he might actually lose the championship. So we do see Tuamainen trying to get as many points as he can to try get close to him as well. You see Andres hold all over the back of him now. Is he going to lose another position here, Yaroshenko? Does seem he's going to go for a bit of a lunge again. The inside line is wow, so that's going to happen. Is there going to be contact between there? It does seem Yaroshenko is not really caring, if I'm being honest, with giving racing room. He's turning in on everyone, and we saw that on the first lap. Not to be disrespectful at all. It's just what I've been seeing. Most Tramby and Shang both going at it side by side, as we do see there could be a free wide happening here as well, as we do see Chua Mainen trying to get involved with this as well, and we also see Emmanuel in the background as they're going to go 3 wide, possibly even 4 wide here around Imola. It does seem it goes very, very wrong, as we do see Jake Shang unfortunately getting a bit of a tap behind from Chua Mainen, and that did cause him to go in the gravel. He's gone in the gravel again there. He's now lost so many positions there. Chua Mainen up another position as well as the Ferrari of Donazo, who's trying to get up, and Jake Shang's mirror without losing it from Scott. This is very, very big battle here, as we do see now Donazo trying to go side by side here with Deschamps. He does get it done, but he is on the outside line, so there's going to be a better angle here for Deschamps to keep it. So there's going to be another incident behind it. It does seem Jude just keeps the grip of that McLaren there. It does seem they're going into his corners. You've got to have the side by side here. Deschamps will have it, but it does seem Donazo breaks a lot later and just keeps it, as we do see Scotland as well trying to get this position done. This is absolutely chaotic for the second race here. Everyone just trying to get these positions as quickly as they can. Scotland, though, I can't even see him on the leaderboard. He's made that much of an improvement so far into the first race, and there we are. He is looking to take this position from Jake Deschamps as well. Also very close together. Obviously now already on a fast track just on the first few laps. So this is something that will happen. We'll definitely see an optimum track by the end of this race, and we do see Deschamps putting a lot of pressure once again on Donato. So they're going to be tapped between them both. No, there isn't. There's just enough room between them both to keep going, keep pushing, as we now have seen Jake Deschamps lose a lot of confidence as he gets sideswiped there from Scotland. That's going to keep them both in the same position, but it does seem though Jake Deschamps might lose it here from Scotland, as he has done. That is something that I don't see very often here, as we do see now as well. Martin Cotterill trying to go for a move as well, but it does seem Jewett as well just putting a lot of pressure from behind, as we do see Chua Mainen once again trying to go side by side here with Imola to try to get this P7 done. It does seem he gets it done with the overspeed. Donazone as well getting it. It has the inside line, does break a bit later and almost just sideswiped Hanu there. So very, very sketchy move, but manages to get it done. Just a huge train here. Can James Williams get a few more positions? Looking to pressure up Mickey Taylor here in that McLaren 720S Evo. Did you see? Is that a yellow flag I saw? Is that car who was off, or was I just seeing things? Be honest, I'm not surprised if it is that. We do see Chua Mainen trying to get side by side here again with Tramby to try to take P6. He's trying to get these positions as quickly as he can, trying to get closer to Yaroshenko to battle. But it does seem now most Tramby's got to just stick in front for the time being, as we do see if he battles too hard, we do see Donazo as well in the background, who will catch up quite quickly with them both, as we do see now most Tramby starting to lose time, as we do see Hanu Chua Mainen just making a tiny bit of a mistake there going into the final corner. Did lead to Donato just getting past, as we do see Scotting as well trying to get with it as well. Mickey Taylor though unfortunately spinning. We'll get a replay of that. Seems it might have been an incident with stopping the car, or yeah, does seem no, he got a bit of contact from behind there from what seemed to be Dua, and that's going to unfortunately being him spin and lose a lot of positions there, as we do see Mark GG again trying to go side by side with Giuseppe staying in front. It seems that we do see Scotland doing donuts, but it does seem he's going to stay in front there. Scotland not going to be happy with that. He was quite far up in the order now, unfortunately losing those positions. Mark GG trying to go side by side here, going into it. He did have the inside line, but it does seem Giuseppe broke a lot later, and we could see that just by doing that corner. He did lose a lot of time, but it's still going to be enough just to stay in front. James Williams now getting involved with this as well. He could possibly gain 2 positions here if they battle too hard. It does seem he has quite good overspeed here and tries to break for the inside line. Doesn't work for him yet though. I'm going to run out of breath very soon, I realise. James Williams though again trying to look some pressure there on Mark GG. Not going to work just yet in his favour. We also see Nantes as well. These 4 drivers are quite close in pace as well, just by looking at their best lap times. And Trambaglio trying to get P2 from Sven Corvin. Sven Corvin being in that Lamborghini could be a disadvantage compared to the McLaren 720 SE Evo. Haven't used the Lamborghini that much. Obviously, it's very good on the brakes, which obviously there's a lot of quite sharp corners around the track like Imola. It does seem it's a very good aero-reliant car, that McLaren 720S, which has led to him all over the back of him in just a few phases of corners there. Does just seem like going into the final 20 minutes of this race now. Dewar is closer than ever on Martin Cotterill, and I'm trying to go side by side here, going into the first corner. Does he take the outside line here, but is he going to try to do a switchback? It does seem he tried to attempt it, but it seemed Martin Cotterill had a very good entrance and exit there. And now, but on the second part of it, does seem he has lost all of that, and now it does seem there's going to be a side by side here. It pulls out there Dewar as he does seem to just stay ahead there. Once again, can Martin Cotterill keep this for this long? As it does seem, though, he does get the gravel trap a tiny bit. As we do see, I think James Williams and wow gets it as well. As it does seem he does keep in ahead of Mark GG as well. I said as well, probably about 5 or 6 times in that sentence. Martin Cotterill trying to get some retaliation here on Dewar. Can he do it? Does seem though his pace is a bit weaker compared to Dewar, but can Giuseppe get past as well? Coming on to the final 19 minutes now, very close to the final half of the race, and it's not as interesting in terms of weather and strategy plays, but it's all down to if they've all used the same amount of fuel, because I have seen unfortunately a few people lose fuel, and I've seen one person lose fuel on the final 5 meters and it still didn't count as finishing the race. So it's just something that you need to be very careful about, as we do see Martin Cotterill hitting the gravel trap a tiny bit. That could cause a bit more of a slipstream battle here between Giuseppe and Martin Cotterill here. Trying to go side by side here. It's not going to work with them both yet, but he just stays behind with him. Just can he try break under the braking? Obviously they're both in the same car, same machinery, all down to the setup and driver here. Confidence of the driver is key to try and get more and more pace between them both. It does seem they're both quite similar pace, so they've probably got the same and similar amount of confidence, but probably in different areas of the track. Daniel Trambaglio all over the back here of Sven Corvin. Can Sven hold it for the next 18 minutes? I don't think he can. It does seem Daniel Trambaglio's pace is pretty damn quick at the moment. Can he take P2? As it does seem he's all over the back of him. He gets a very good exit here. Can he try to do it into the chicane? He tries to force for the inside line. Doesn't work for him yet. He tries to go for the outside line as well, but it just doesn't break as much as Sven Corvin going into that corner. It does seem goes very wide there. That's going to be a track limit penalty for sure, and that's something we haven't seen yet, and that's one thing that they need to be careful about. This track is quite bugged when it comes to track limits. I've seen people get 2 track limits in one corner, so it's just something you need to be very careful about on a track like this. It's very strict when it comes to track limits. It's also very strict in the terms of speed limit in the pit lane, so it's just something you need to try balance out and try not to get any of those bad speed tokens. Sven Corvin up all over pressure of Daniel Trambaglio as it does seem he forces going into it side by side. Does seem that Daniel Trambaglio having a bit of a Code Brown moment there, just getting very, very close there between them both. Sven Corvin down into P3, Daniel Trambaglio up into P2. That is not going to be a very happy Sven Corvin, as there's already quite a big gap between them both. Can Daniel Trambaglio try to get closer to the leader here? Sebastian Picano looking like he has a big gap between them both, but is it going to be 17 minutes? Big enough gap. Have to see Martin Cotter now all over the back of it. Giuseppe, is he going to try to go side by side? He does try it. James Williams as well, trying to look for a position. Free for eyes. It does seem Giuseppe goes very wide there going into the corner. Loses 3 positions there. It does seem now James Williams has got to try put some pressure on Martin Cotter. It does seem he looked for a place to put his car to try get past him. Didn't work for him. Martin Cotter just closing all of the doors of opportunity that he did have to go for it. James Williams now once again looks like he broke a lot later and looked like he tried going for the entire line as we do see Giuseppe possibly getting another track limit warning. That does seem now they're going to go side by side once again. Does seem he does get it done. Is it going to be an inside line? Is he going to get it fully done? Does seem he does, but is there going to be good enough exits? There going to be retaliation from Martin Cottrell going into the chicane now. So we do see what happened there. What happened there? It just seemed as Martin Cottrell just got very loose there, which caused them both to spin there. But it kind of looks like a... I'm not going to actually say what I thought I saw, but I'm sure that's what happened. I'm going to have to keep an eye on what happened between them both. It seems Martin Cottrell did just obviously lose all of those positions, but that looked quite suspicious in my opinion. I'm not going to say why, because I'm not trying to put any accusation upon drivers, and that's obviously not my responsibility at all. That's all down to the stewards. They are obviously 100 times better because they're it's their job, and I'm just a person who is rowdy on comms. But that kind of looked like either a tiny bit of oversteer or a bit of a wheel disconnect, or maybe just a bit of a distraction. But it's just something that I'm quite intrigued about what the outcome is with the post stewarding. Alex Fragerwood now quite close to the Shong here. I'm going to lose a tiny bit of time. However, Yaroshenko getting that slipstream on Andres Holt. This happened before. Is it going to work? But just Andres Holt not having any sort of break in both races here. It does seem tries to go for the inside line. Doesn't work. It does seem Andres Holt breaks a lot quicker and shorter distance compared to just not Giuseppe. Giuseppe was the person he was battling with last race. This time it's Yaroshenko, another 296. He's going to try go once again. He's just looking at any opportunity he can to get past. It's not going to work for him just yet, sadly for him. But we do see what happened here with Donato. Yellow flag for him. Does seem going slow. Has that been a tiny bit of an issue with oversteer? It could potentially be. There's no car around him. Yeah, it's just a spin going on that curve. That could look absolutely lethal there. Just spinning the car absolutely instantly, losing a position there to Mose Tramby. Now down into P8 and Mose Tramby up into P7 with a freebie of a position. Yaroshenko getting closer now to Andres Hold, but still not going to be close enough. Do you see Truman and they're getting a bit of an overseer moment? He's trying to catch up here with Yaroshenko. But I think at this time being, I think Yaroshenko might have the championship. But I'm not going to jinx anything just yet. It's getting closer, but still not going to be close enough for him to try, think to go for it. There's 7 people watching. Welcome on, and who is actually in the stream. It's good to see so many people still watching this. Obviously, like and subscribe to the FRL channel. They're getting closer to 1.25k. Obviously, they're still making money now, so it's good to see some funding can go back in to FRL, and it just makes it a bit lighter on the admins financially wise. So it's just good. Just like and subscribe to support the channel. Yaroshenko though closer than ever to Andres Holds. The final 10 minutes now has been quite the opposite in terms of racing here. It does seem we are losing Bausch. Martin Cottrell though, one of the other battles on track with Mark GG for P17, but it does seem we do see a very, very damaged Mark GG in P17. Going to go side by side here, but we do see Mark GG go into the pit, so that's a very recent crash that did happen, but we didn't capture that on live stream. I will try to see if I can find replay for that, but I don't think I will be able to. Yaroshenko closer than ever to try and get this position done on Andres Hold here. Can he try and hold it for the next 10 minutes? Can he see a very, very good oversteer and overdrive moment there from Yaroshenko? It's going to be side by side here. Gets a very good overspeed going into this corner. He does try to take it, trying to switch back. Andres Hold though managing to keep it. The inside line was absolutely crucial there for Andres Hold to keep that position and maintain P4, which he's managed to do. But how long will that actually last for him? Braking a lot later there, but it's not going to be late enough for him. It's all over the back of him here. Can he try to go for a move here going onto the straight? He does seem he has the inside line that seems going for the first corner. Can Andres hold it though? Is he going to brake later? Then Yaroshenko, this is Yaroshenko's opportunity to take the position. He does do so. Is there going to be retaliation here from Andres Hold? Doesn't seem there is going to be. Can he try gain it though? He is looking to keep that position in the final 8 minutes of this race. He does have the inside line. Trambaglio is off and has a lot of damage once again going into what seems to be turn 4. What's happened here? We get a replay going into it. Does seem he just gets complete under and oversteer at the same time. I'm confused on what actually happened there. But it does seem he is now going to lose positions, unfortunately, here, as we do see these two battling at it once again. It does seem Andrew's hold isn't managing to maintain this gap between them both, as we do see two remaining as well in P5 and Yaroshenko in P6. So this is actually for position once again. If Yaroshenko can try keep the championship, I'm not sure how close that actually is. So I'm kind of making it feel like it's a Max Verstappen versus Hamilton moment, but I'm not sure if it is that close to the point where it's mere millimeters in points. But I've never actually seen someone refer to millimeters as points. But we'll go with it, as it does seem Yaroshenko has such a good pace difference between him and two remaining here going into what seems to be one of the final laps. I believe we have, or quick maths, 4.5 laps maybe left. Might be a bit more, might be a bit less. Yeah, the battles are starting to decrease here for the final 6 minutes of racing, which you do expect to happen in a lobby where the pace is quite different. Can two remain and hold it off for the final 5 minutes? He has been able to do it in the past. Will he be able to do it again? Does seem though he's going to try going side by side here, going into the first corner. He just backs out of it though. It does seem he had the inside line and the opportunity to do so. It's probably the smarter idea not trying to risk both of them being out of this race because of an incident and losing so many more positions and points than just a few seconds or so. Still closest battle on track between them both. Yaroshenko starting to get closer, but obviously PST Racing 992 of two remaining, trying to escape as quickly as he can, starting to maintain a bit of a gap, but Yaroshenko closes it going into sector 2 now, all over the back of him, going into sector 3 as well now, as it does seem he looked like he was going to try go for a move on the inside line going into the first corner of sector 3. Isn't going to go for it yet. He's just going to tuck himself behind for now. Still has obviously a few laps to do, so he'll start getting more and more impatient. Oh well, we'll start seeing the more risky moves becoming present. He does brake a lot later there going to the penultimate corner. He's all over the back of him now. He needs to try and maintain a tiny bit of a gap, otherwise it's just going to fly by on the straight, and he has been able to. Is that gap going to be enough though? It does seem, looking at the wing as that point, to see how much he is gaining. He isn't gaining too much into the first part of the straight going onto the new lap now. He hasn't actually gained at all going onto the straight. In fact, it does seem to remain gained compared to him, and now this battle is starting to become less and less present between each other. However, Magnusson still trying to go on most Tramby for the final lap or so, final 2 laps of the evening and of the championship. Does seem Emanuelson just backs out a tiny bit, loses quite a bit of time between them both. However, Yaroshenko still all over the back of him going into turn 4, as we do see the first, unfortunately, the first drive-through of the evening. And I was about to say we might not see any drive-throughs this evening, but Mark GG unfortunately getting a drive-through going on to what is probably the penultimate lap as well. So that's very unfortunate there for Mark GG. But leading out, Sebastian Picano managing to do it once again so far. Going on to what is the penultimate lap now. Not now, when he crosses the line will be the penultimate lap. Yeah, Schenker all over the back of him now. Can he hold it though for the final 2 laps? Can he? But he's so close between them both now. Can the slipstream work in Yaroshenko's favour? It does seem using that wing again. He is gaining this time. Going on to the second part of the straight. Is he going to try to defend it to remain? And no, he tries to go for the racing line. But it seems just Yaroshenko backs out for it. And now he just stays with it now. Just staying, as I said it again, staying with it. And just trying to look for any opportunity as can when he just sees Tuamini and makes a bit of a mistake. He doesn't. Yeah, and I hope he doesn't, because this is still some good racing between them both. But it does seem he's gaining a lot more, as we do see quite an aggressive moment there from Yaroshenko. The car just trying to unsettle him there. Oh my days, I thought that was going to be instant, and then I was just looking at the ACC race control, and he's just gone all over the back of him there as we go into the final lap after these final few corners. Now, is he going to have to, he's going to have to try do it going on to the final lap. Yaroshenko to try to take P5, but if he waits too long, we do see Donazo in the background as well, who could try get P5 as well. So there's still some good possibilities during this race to happen, even though there's only one lap left. And Yaroshenko, though, what's happening with Donato going sideways, it seems, going into it. What happens here? It seems he's going side by side with Yaroshenko. Is this going to help out to a maiden, do we think? Does seem Donato just having a bit of contact there with Yaroshenko, which causes most Tramby to get involved with that as well. But it does seem Yaroshenko having quite a big gap here to remain and having a bit of breathing space finally. As when I said we were going to have an optimum track, we're not. Which I'm quite surprised there. Going to take the win of the second race here. Picano going across the line to take it for the second time of the evening. Very well done there for Picano. But do we see Yaroshenko be crowned the champion here? I'm not sure actually. But I believe Yaroshenko might be the champion of Season 10 here. So congratulations to him if he is. But obviously there is additional stewarding that's happened after. So provisionally I think he is the champion. So if he keeps it there, what happened there? It's just a bit of a cut off there from Yaroshenko. Good flying in the air. So you can see James Williams coming across the line now as well in the pink pig livery. Followed there by Sciotto, Mumtaz, and then we do see Mickey Taylor and Cotter as well. And then Albert Rossen being the last one, and quite far behind actually. Albert Rossen, as we're seeing a lot of people already leaving the server. But I'm going to say that's going to be it for the broadcasting tonight, guys, and for the season. I want to thank obviously the FRL admin, as I said earlier, for letting me on. Comms this season has been very, very good. And obviously my name has been Alex or Aces. I will potentially see you Saturday if I'm doing it. I'm still very skeptical if I am, but that will all be announced later on in the week. If I don't see you, then enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy your weekend. And I will potentially see you folks on ACC next season. So have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.